In this video, I'm going to reveal the truth about drop servicing, why it's one of the best online business opportunities at the moment, but why about 90% of the people that try it are actually failing. I'm going to reveal step by step what you can do so that you can get your first client in no time at all. And I'm also going to talk about some of the biggest mistakes that people are making so that you can avoid them. If you don't know who I am, my name is Malaba and I'm on a mission to expose the income secrets of some of Africa's online millionaires. I want to become one of them and I want to take you along the journey. If you want to learn how to build an online business which will give you financial freedom, all you have to do is hit that bell notification, hit that subscribe button so that you'll be notified every single time I create content just like this. Okay, so for those of you who might be new to my channel and you've got no idea what drop servicing is, drop servicing is basically you offering services to people that need the services, except that you are not the one who does the work. What you do is that you connect people who are service providers to people who actually need the service, and then you make profit as the middleman. One example of a company that has done this very, very well, though they don't necessarily call it drop servicing, but it's the same thing, is Uber. Uber, the app that you use that will take you from point A to point B. Now, the assumption that we have in our minds is that these people who work for Uber probably, maybe they have morning meetings where they meet the CEOs of Uber and stuff like that, and they set goals and have strategy meetings and they talk about how to take customers and stuff like that. None of that stuff actually happens because Uber is based in America, and these people who actually are Uber drivers, they have never met the people who own Uber. What just happens is that Uber created that app to connect you as a person who needs to travel from point A to B, to connect you with the person who is able to take you there. So in a sense, Uber is doing drop servicing in that Uber is the middleman. They're getting a commission or they're getting a cut of the amount of money that you pay for that driver to take you from where you are to exactly where you want to go. So what I love the most about drop servicing is that you don't have to do the work. Somebody else does the work, which means that you can just only focus on just finding customers and clients, and then someone else is actually doing the work. Now, when it comes to actually delivering the service, there are about 4 different avenues that I'd recommend that you follow. You just simply choose one, the one that works for you. The first one is by using freelancers from freelance websites. You simply do a Google search and look for freelance websites. The most commonly used ones, the ones that will pop up first, are Fiverr.com, Freelancer, Upwork, People Per Hour. There's so many of them. You simply go in there and find a freelancer who is able to provide the service that you want to provide to your customers. The second place is by using white label agencies. White label simply means that they are willing to do the work on your behalf, and when you approach your customer, they will say they work for you. They will say that they are under your company. It's a simple agency, like it's any type of agency, for example a marketing agency, except that they don't charge the usual marketing agency price. They have lower prices so that you can bring them more work, you can bring them more customers, and they're working under you, under your own brand. The third way is for you to use forums and communities. These are just basic gatherings of people for specific niches and specific reasons. For example, entrepreneurs might have a group where they gather to share different ideas. Normally, especially using the example of entrepreneurs, you will find people who are, for example, graphic designers, maybe people who help with company registration and stuff like that. Usually those are freelancers who avail themselves to take care of the people or in that community. You can reach out to those freelancers in those communities, find out their prices and stuff like that, and then you start offering their service to your customers, but they'll be the ones who will be doing the work. The last place is by you actually just using what we call SaaS, or software as a service. It's you using different softwares to provide a service to a client. The most commonly used one that I can give as an example is like in the social media space. A lot of people need content to be created and then the content to be distributed on different platforms every single day. It becomes very hard for you to manage your own social media. There are softwares that you actually can use that will manage that software for you, that will manage that social media for you. So that's an example of software as a service. Okay, so now that I've introduced what drop servicing is, here is the truth about drop servicing. The number one reason why people are trying drop servicing but they are failing is because drop servicing is work. Drop servicing takes time and it takes effort. It's not just something that you just try out and from nowhere you start making a lot of money. I realized from the people who have watched my previous videos, there's one video in particular where I reveal how much I made in such a short space of time. That video encouraged a lot of people to just jump into drop servicing with the assumption that I'm also going to be making that amount of money in a very short space of time. But ladies and gentlemen, it takes work for you to build a drop servicing business, because this is a legit mode of business. It's a legit way of setting up an online business. Every type of business that is legit will take time and it will take work. So you must be willing to put in the work. For example, people saw me talking about this website or this platform that I built up for my clients, and it made me a lot of money. Therefore, a lot of people have been sending me messages asking me, how can I get started with that particular platform? It's not about the platform, it's about the business model. What people don't understand is that it took me about 3 years of using that platform before I started understanding how it really works, and now I sell it as a drop servicing service. I'm not saying it has to take you also 3 years, but what I'm saying is that I have got a background working with that thing. There was work that I put into it, and therefore that's why I'm able to get those results. You can get results very fast if you are willing to put in the work. The second thing about drop servicing is that you must take action. You must take massive action. It's about providing a service to customers, which means that you must be interacting with customers every single day. You can't say that drop servicing is not working and in the time that you have tried, you've only reached out to 5 clients and they all said no. Or in fact, they didn't even read your messages. A lot of people get discouraged because they don't know how much work actually has to go into this. When I say that you have to take some action, it means that you are reaching out to a lot of people on a daily basis, hoping that one of them is going to say yes to you, and then you're going to be able to provide the service to that person. To the few people that I mentor and I train, I actually recommend that you try and reach out to about 100 people every single day. And this is the truth, this is what happens. You try and reach out to about 100 people, and it's very simple, it's easy, it's not difficult. I'll explain how to do it. You reach out to about 100 people per day. What will happen is that because of the places where you're reaching out to people, about maybe 40 to 60% will not see your message, right? Which means that about 40 people will see your message. From those 40, about 10 of them will not be interested. They'll say, why are you messaging me? Why are you trying to reach out to me? I never asked you to this. And maybe they'll block you, or they'll report you for spam and stuff like that. Then there's some other people that will see your message and they will say to you that I already have got someone who is doing this for me, so they don't need your service. Then there are about 10 from the 100 people that you messaged who will then say to you, yes, this is something that I'm interested in. And they're actually willing to talk to you and have a conversation with you about that. From those 10 people, 2 or 3 will actually say yes to you. You reach out to 100 people, but 2 or 3 will say yes to you. That's how it is. That's just an explanation of how much work needs to be done. And you're probably thinking, man, how do I reach 100 people per day? It's a simple process. You simply understand, okay, what's the message that I need to send out to people? And what I recommend is that you use platforms like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube and email. What you do is that you send maybe 15 messages in the morning on Facebook, and then 15 messages in the evening on Facebook. These are to different people, right? You've already sent out 30 messages in one day. You do the same thing on Instagram. Maybe send 10 or 15 messages in the morning and 10 or 15 messages in the evening. The reason why you want to divide it evening and morning is because if you keep sending too many messages to people that you don't know, these platforms are going to flag you as someone who is trying to spam. You don't want to be flagged as a spammer. You do the same thing on LinkedIn, you do the same thing using email, and then you realize that eventually you are reaching out to 100 people per day. Now, let me tell you, 100 people per day is a lot, but I recommend that you do that when you are starting, because firstly, you want to build your confidence. Secondly, you want to move as fast as you can so that you can get your first client. Thirdly, you want to send your message to as many people so that you can come to a point whereby you realize what works and what doesn't work, because you're not always going to have the answers when you're starting. But the fastest way to find your answers, the answers to what exactly should you be saying to your potential customers, and how should you be reaching out to them, is by sending as many messages as possible. Then the market itself will start telling you that this works and this doesn't work. Now let's talk about 4 steps to drop servicing the right way. Now, as I'm sharing this with you, there's an outline that I'm using that I've written down so that it's step by step and I can easily just relate like the points to you. If you want access to that outline, I've already put it in document form. All you have to do is stick around to the end of this video and I'm going to tell you exactly how you can get it. My step-by-step points that I'm sharing with you from start to the end of this video so that you can just have an outline that you are just following even as you're building your drop servicing business. The first thing that you're going to have to do is pick a niche. You need to pick a niche firstly that you are interested in. The reason why I say that you must be interested in it is because drop servicing is not something that you start and it starts making money tomorrow morning. There are some cases, yes, of some people doing that. It's because they understand that niche or they have got a background in it and they know how to make things work for them. Because when you're building a business, why build a business that you don't have a passion for? Why build a business that you don't have a love for? Rather look for a niche that is something that you're very much interested in. For example, myself, I work a lot with course creators because I am interested in creating courses, online programs. Look at these videos that I create here. I'm interested in sharing knowledge with people. So therefore, it makes sense for me to be in the knowledge commerce or the website for course creators building niche, because that's what I love doing. Don't try and don't work with a niche that looks like it's making money. Because the problem is that you still need to learn that niche. You still need to get involved in that niche. You need to have lots of conversations with people while you are building up your business. And if it's something that you're not interested in, it's going to cost you in the long run. I've got many other videos where I actually share and teach you how exactly you can pick your niche, how to find a winning niche. So you might just want to check out the other videos on my channel. The second step is that you need to pick a service. Once you're clear that this is the type of niche that I want to work in, you want to find a service that you can deliver to the people who are in that niche. Now, the easiest way for you to get paid is by you finding problems that these people in these niches are facing, and then you start solving them, because companies are willing to pay you money as long as you solve their problems. So what you have to figure out first is what problems are they facing? What challenges can you create a product or a service around? All you just simply have to do is look for companies that are servicing these different businesses, right? Look at what exactly are they offering them. And that should give you an idea of the type of service that you should be offering. For example, let's say that your niche is working with people who are starting up businesses. What are the main challenges that they face? Firstly, they need help with their branding. Secondly, they need to get customers, right? How exactly do they get customers? You find companies that are working with them to give them customers. How do they get them customers? What methods, what strategies, what system or what process exactly are they using to help these new businesses to get customers? So simply put, in other words, you need to do some research. You need to figure out what service can I offer to these types of businesses or these individuals, so that now they can come to me and I'm offering this service to them on a constant basis. The easiest type of services that I recommend that you start off with are the services that help people to go online, or they help people to build their online businesses. Consider the pandemic that we've all gone through and experienced. More and more people have been limited to working from home. Businesses have been forced to shrink and focus more on building their exposure online. So if you are able to provide solutions that help people to gain customers online, lead generation, anything to do with exposure which results in sales, a lot of people will say yes to you. The third step is to simply find customers and to sell to them. And so there are two basic ways in which you reach out to and find customers. The first one is using paid advertising. You're using platforms like Google Ads, you're using Instagram ads, you're using YouTube ads, Facebook ads. There's so many different platforms that offer that. And basically you are paying the platform so that they can show your content or your message to as many people as possible, depending on your budget. Now, obviously, most people watching this are just starting out and you don't exactly have a budget to start using paid adverts. So I recommend that you use free traffic methods. You're using methods like Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, email, and Instagram. You're basically reaching out to people, or you're creating content which will attract people's attention, and then you invite them to have conversations with you. Now, this method, ladies and gentlemen, it takes work. Like I mentioned earlier on, I encourage you to reach as many people as possible. You'll be sending DMs, getting into people's inboxes and just sending them messages. Now, the method that I use is simply sending DMs to potential customers, and I'm just sending a short message which gets them to be kind of aware that this is the type of service that I can offer. But I don't sell it to them directly. I invite them to have a conversation with me. Now, if they're interested in having a conversation with me, I then invite them to get onto a phone call with me, and I use free platforms like Calendly to book calls with people, and then Zoom to actually conduct the call, because the people are from different parts of the world. When I get onto that call with them, I then use a script whereby I'm talking to them. Firstly, I'm trying to figure out what challenges they are facing in their particular niche or their industry. And then the reason why I ask those questions is because I want to see whether I can help them. I don't want to help everybody. There's very specific people that I want to help, people that I know that I can help them to get some great results. So I'm just going through those questions. And secondly, the way that I position those questions is to help them to realize and see that I'm the right person to talk to about this matter. The third thing that I then do on that call is that I give them value. I always have got a way in the way that I'm conducting that call, where I start sharing some ideas and I start telling them that, know what, I think this is what you need to do, and this and this and this and this. And then I always then kind of close my call with a question that sounds something like this: would you like to see what it would look like to work with me? They usually say yes, or they usually just say no. But for the ones who say yes, I then start making my pitch, and I say, actually, no, this is the service that I offer. I do this. I tell them my price. Then some people say, yes, I want to work with you. They make payment right there on the call, or maybe after the call. Some people say no. I let them to go their own way. But in other words, I am starting to sell to them. I use those calls to sell to people, which is another skill that you're going to have to learn. You're going to have to learn how to sell over the phone. I know it might be daunting to say, no, man, I have to get on phone calls with people and start talking to them and stuff like that. Especially if you're selling high ticket services. If you're offering like a graphic design service where you're selling logos for maybe, let's say, $50, you don't necessarily have to get onto phone calls all the time. You can send voice notes, or you can send messages and stuff like that. But when you're trying to sell services for $500 plus going up, people want to meet the person. They want to get to know you a bit better. So it would be good for you to learn how to sell. Even when you're texting, you need to learn how to sell. What kind of messages will get someone to say yes to you? So it's another skill that you have to work on and learning. The fourth step is fulfillment and delivery. In other words, once the client has said yes to you and maybe they have made their payment, you then talk to the freelancer and say, hey, there's this work that I need you to do. Can you do it for me? Now, obviously, you talk to your freelancer first and know what their prices are. You know what their process is, what are the things that they need in order for them to do a job. So that you talk to them first, so that by the time you start talking to your client, you already know all the stuff. You know how much your markup on the freelancer's price is going to be, and the process in terms of how many days is he going to take. Usually, I always do double. Like if my freelancer says that he will take 3 days to do it, I'll tell my clients that this will take 6 days. Just in case something happens with the freelancer and they fail to deliver, it will give me time to find another freelancer. And then also the amount of money that I charge my client is always either ×2 or ×3 what the freelancer is charging me. And sometimes the client, depending on who they are and how our conversation is going, I can tell them to make a full payment, especially when there's trust. Sometimes I just ask them to make a half payment when the client is not too sure. No, I'm meeting you for the first time. How do I just trust you with this money, stuff like that? I can ask them to make a half payment or a 1/3 payment. The payment is always enough for me to pay the freelancer. But also what happens is, depending on the arrangement that you're doing with the freelancer, or if you're using freelance websites, what happens is, like especially on the freelance websites, is you pay money and the money gets saved on the website. So there's your money gets stuck, it gets saved here on the website, and then there's a freelancer. The freelancer has to do the job first. Once they do the job and you approve the job, that's when the freelancer gets their money. So you don't have to worry about, no, what if I pay the freelancer and then the freelancer doesn't do the work? He doesn't get his money until the work is done. If he's stalling or something, you just change the freelancer. So that'll give you enough time for when the freelancer has completed the work and then they tell you that I've done the work. You then can take the work, show it to the client. Is the client happy? The client says, yes, I'm happy. Then you order for the freelancer to get paid his money, and then your client is then going to pay you the rest of the money if they haven't paid upfront all the money. So here's a question for you. What's the number one key to getting results fast? How do you get results in as fast a time as possible? That's the question, and here's the answer. You need to have as many interactions with potential or with customers as possible. The more interactions you have with your clients, you start to narrow down and get a clarity on what is the type of service that they are really interested in. The more potential customers you talk to, you start to see specific trends that, okay, these are the type of people that say yes to me, and these are the type of people that say no. The more you talk to potential customers, you start to realize that, okay, when I send this type of message, this is the message that gets me results, and this is the message that gets people to either ignore me or people to say no. The only way you will build that profitable business and start growing it and start scaling it is by actually doing the work. You need to have as many conversations with as many people as possible. What I would recommend that you do, and this is something that I did for myself when I started selling high ticket services, charging $1,000 plus, I actually had free conversations with potential clients. I just messaged a few people and I was like, you know what, I'm trying to start a business that does this. I don't want to charge you anything, but I'm kindly asking for your advice. Do you mind getting onto a 15-minute call with me? And then I have a couple of questions just to ask, because some people are nice and friendly and they're willing to help wherever they can. Some people did. And I started asking them questions like, what's the type of service that you are willing to pay for? When it comes to this and this and this, do you feel like you need help? Do you feel like you need assistance? Have you worked with someone else before? What do you wish they would have done for you that they did not offer? I asked a whole lot of questions that kind of gave me clarity on what my market was looking for. You want to be able to do that, either having those calls before you start your business, or you do your business but you do a lot of people, you reach out to a lot of people. Both methods will give you the information that you need for you to become more and more clear about what's the type of service really that you should be offering, how should you be packaging it, the type of people that are willing to buy that service. So I didn't want this video to be way too long, so some of these things that I was explaining, I was just explaining them in brief, just to give you a basic guideline of the direction that you need to be taking as a drop servicer. But if you want more in-depth knowledge and understanding of how exactly this works and the steps that you need to be taking step by step, I have got a book which I have, and this book is on sale. It's only going for $7 or 112 rands, and I'm going to put a link in the description below. It's called How to Make Your First $1,000 Online, and simply put, it's all my knowledge put into a PDF document, and it will show you step by step how to set up your drop servicing business and how exactly you can get your first customer. And if you're using in my exact steps, you will be selling high ticket offers or high ticket services, which will get you your first $1,000 online. So the link to that book, if you want to buy that book, it's in the description below. And then earlier on, I mentioned that if you want this outline of this training that I've just done, there's another link below that link. You just have to just click on that link, and then you'll be able to download the notes that I used to create this training. Now, if you haven't done so already, please make sure that you subscribe to this channel so that you can be notified every single time when I create more content like this, and also hit the bell notification so that YouTube will tell you directly. You just get that pop-up message when you go to YouTube that says that Marshall just created some content. And also do me another favor and hit the like button if you found value in this video. If you didn't find any value, you hit the unlike button, right? Because I want to know what type of content I should be creating which will bring more value to you. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching this video. I love creating content which is designed to help you to build income online. You might also be interested in these other videos right here, which will show you more about drop servicing and will show you the results that I was able to get. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next